Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurumitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarupascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. So today we will continue chapter 8 from verse number 18 onwards. We'll definitely finish chapter 8 and we will most likely straddle into chapter 9. So we discussed last class how Krishna was explaining with the comparison that Bhakti Yoga is easier process as compared to the grueling Ashtanga Yoga process, and Krishna established in 8.14 Sulabha that Bhakti Yoga is easy as compared to others. And to get this impetus, although we understand that Bhakti Yoga is the highest process, but how do I get this impetus to move on the path of spirituality? Therefore, first Krishna did this comparison of Bhakti Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, and then Krishna also did this comparison. See the result that material world is a place of misery, and Bhakti Yoga grants you highest destination where there is no misery, so that we get this impetus. And this comparison, first Krishna also did in 8.16-17 with the life of Brahmaji, which looks very long, that 311 trillion, 40 billion plus years. But it still is like a flash when you compare to eternity. And even Brahmaji is such a long life of 311 trillion plus years is still temporary. So we have to understand how everything in the material world is temporary. And therefore, we have to focus on attaining the eternal, attaining Goloka Vrindavan or spiritual world. And this comparison will continue on in rest of the verses that we're going to cover in chapter 8. So let's continue from verse number 18. Sumnima, 8.18 translation.
Hare Krishna. 8.18. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they're all merged into the unmanifest again. Hare Krishna.
So we did discuss this when we populated the 8.17 chart, that Brahmaji's life, during the 12-hour day, there is creation, and the 4 cycles of yuga continue for 1000 times. And during the 12-hour night of Brahmaji, there is partial annihilation. So every 12-hour night, there is partial annihilation. And again, when next day of Brahmaji, again creation happens. And this cycle just continues. So right now, Brahmaji is 51 years of age, and material world has lived for this long. So you have heard from me multiple times, hearing 155 trillion years in this cycle of creation so far. So this is where the reference comes from, that if you take roughly, I'm using round numbers, that 311 trillion, 40 billion plus years, just take 50% of that around the life of Brahmaji. That's where this creation cycle has been in existence for 155 trillion Earth years and will continue for another same number of years till the 100-year lifespan of Brahmaji. Janisha, verse number 19 translation. Janisha. We cannot hear you. All right. Srivatsa Prabhu, verse number 19 translation, 8.19. Samma, 8.19.
8.19 Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated.
So it's a continuation of the discussion. The aggregate of all living beings repeatedly take birth and are destroyed helplessly when Brahmaji's night arrives, and again manifested again at the arrival of next day of Brahma. So the point here is to highlight that we are not in control. The verse says helplessly, that we are helplessly annihilated and helplessly forced to take birth again based on our inclinations. We are not in control. We often think we have a lot of control in this world. Well, it is just an illusion of control. But in terms of working of nature, we are helpless. We just have to rely on whatever material nature forces upon us. So based on our inclinations, we may get an animal body, we may get a bird body, we may get a human body. We are not in control. We are helpless. We are forced to take whatever material nature gives us. And therefore in 13.22 is a very important verse. It's a third junction point in Bhagavad Gita. Says Purusha Prakriti Stohi. That Purusha means the Jiva is forced under material nature. Questions, comments, realization so far? Monak Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, I have a question here regarding the unmanifested world, that living entity is eternal. Then what exactly happened to living entity at the night time of Brahmaji?
Yeah, very good. So during the night time of Brahmaji, all living entities, they go and sleep for 4.3 billion years in Mahavishnu's womb. And when creation happens again, meaning the next day of Brahmaji, all these living entities, we all come in front of Brahmaji with our desire. So Brahmaji is having that much omnipotence to see through our desire. We don't have to say. He already knows that what is my most overwhelming desire. We come in front of Brahmaji, and then Brahmaji matches the soul with one of the 8.4 million life forms. Monarch Prabhu.
Got it, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Ritu, verse number 20, translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated, and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. Hare Krishna.
So up to verse number 19, Krishna has talked about the miseries of material world, that this is temporary. And from now he's doing a comparison that, look, there is another manifested world, which is the spiritual world, which is never unmanifested. And that's what Krishna said in verse number 20, that there is another transcendental nature, which is never annihilated, which is never unmanifested. It is supreme and never annihilated, even when this material world is annihilated. So Krishna is clearly distinguishing in this world, manifest and unmanifest, both are temporary, that they keep repeating, that creation and destruction keeps happening in the material world. But then there is another nature, another world, which is spiritual world, which is eternal. There is no such thing as annihilation. There is no such thing as the four miseries of birth, disease, old age, and death that we have in the material world. And what is this supreme destination, which came up again and again in the discussion? Krishna will make it clear. He's already stating, and he'll continue that discussion. Srivatsa Prabhu, 21 translation.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Bhagavad Gita 8.21, translation. That which the Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns. That is my supreme abode.
So Krishna is saying that is supreme destination is my abode. So characteristics of this supreme abode is that once you attain it, you will never come back. And now Krishna will describe how one can attain that supreme abode. Raksha 22 translation.
Hare Krishna. Text 22. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading and everything is situated within him.
So that Supreme Purusha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, there is no one greater than him. Actually, there is no one equal to him. How can there be anyone greater than him? And that Purusha, that abode, can be attained by Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti means pure devotional service. And that's what we just read in verse 22. Krishna says that this is attained by unalloyed devotion. So only by pure devotional service. We have discussed this in Yoga Ladder also, that only by pure devotional service one can attain the spiritual world. So we'll read verse 21 and 22 purport one by one. So Raksha will first go 21 purport.
The supreme abode of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described in the Brahma Samhita as Chintamani Dhama, a place where all desires are fulfilled. The supreme abode of Lord Krishna, known as Goloka Vrindavan, is full of palaces made of touchstone. There are also trees called desire trees that supply any type of eatable upon demand, and there are cows known as Surabhi cows which supply a limited supply of milk. In this abode, the Lord is
Limitless supply of milk.
limitless supply of milk. In this abode, the Lord is served by hundreds of thousands of goddesses of fortune, Lakshmis, and he is called Govinda, the primal Lord and the cause of all causes. The Lord is accustomed to blow his flute. His transcendental form is the most attractive in all the worlds. His eyes are like lotus petals, and the color of his body is like the color of clouds. He is so attractive that his beauty excels that of thousands of cupids. He wears saffron cloth, a garland around his neck, and a peacock feather in his hair. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna gives only a small hint of his personal abode, Goloko Vrindavan, which is the supermost planet in the spiritual kingdom. A vivid description is given in the Brahma Samhita Vedic literature. Katha Upanishad 1.3.11 states that there is nothing superior to the abode of the Supreme Godhead, and that abode is the ultimate destination. When one attains to it, he never returns to this material world. Krishna's supreme abode and Krishna himself are non-different, being of the same quality. On this earth, Vrindavan, 90 miles southeast of Delhi, is a replica of the supreme Goloko Vrindavan located in the spiritual sky. When Krishna descended to this earth, he sported on that particular tract of land known as Vrindavan in the district of Mathura, India.
All right. So beautiful description is given about spiritual world, about Goloko Vrindavan in the purport. And this discussion is also will continue in the following. So let's read 22 purport. Follow me, 22 purport.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, 22 purport. It is here clearly stated that the supreme destination from which there is no return is the abode of Krishna, the Supreme Person. The Brahma Samhita describes this supreme abode as Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, a place where everything is full of spiritual bliss. All the variegatedness manifest there is of the quality of spiritual bliss. Nothing there is material. That variegatedness is expanded as the spiritual expansion of the Supreme Godhead himself, for the manifestation there is totally of the spiritual energy, as explained in chapter 7. As far as this material world is concerned, although the Lord is always in his supreme abode, he is nonetheless all-pervading by his material energy. So, by his spiritual and material energies, he is present everywhere, both in the material and in the spiritual universes. Yash Yanta Sthani means that everything is sustained within him, within either his spiritual or material energy. The Lord is all-pervading by these two energies. Prabhuji, should I read the next one?
Yeah, read the whole purport.
To enter Krishna's supreme abode or the innumerable Vaikuntha planets is possible only by bhakti, devotional service, as clearly indicated here by the word bhaktya. No other process can help one attain that supreme abode. The Vedas also describe the supreme abode and the supreme personality of Godhead. Eko Vashi Sarvagaha Krishna. In that abode, there is only one supreme personality of Godhead, whose name is Krishna. He is the supreme merciful deity, and although situated there as one, he has expanded himself into millions and millions of plenary expansions. The Vedas compare the Lord to a tree standing still yet bearing many varieties of fruits, flowers, and changing leaves. The plenary expansions of the Lord, who preside over the Vaikuntha planets, are four-armed, and they are known by a variety of names: Purushottama, Trivikrama, Keshava, Madhava, Aniruddha, Rishikesha, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Sridhara, Vasudeva, Damodara, Janardana, Narayana, Vamana, Padmanabha, etc. The Brahma Samhita also confirms that although the Lord is always in the supreme abode, Golaka Vrindavana, he is all pervading, so that everything is going on nicely. As stated in the Vedas, his energies are so expansive that they systematically conduct everything in the cosmic manifestation without a flaw, although the Supreme Lord is far, far away. Hare Krishna.
So when we don't know anything, so we have to rely on scriptures. So I have not seen spiritual world. So how do I know about the spiritual world? Scriptures are that bridge that we use the scriptures and gain knowledge about the spiritual world. And we just read in the few verses and the purports that a beautiful form of Krishna is described, the beautiful scenery of the spiritual world is described, where there is no misery at all, and it is eternal, so that we get the impetus. Unless we get the impetus to get out of the material world, we will never get out of the material world. Questions, comments, realization so far? So let's summarize what we have done so far in this comparison. So the emphasis is to fix mind on Krishna. We discussed this in 8.14 also, that Bhakti Yoga is Sulabha, easier process to fix mind on Krishna. Now, how one gets the impetus to fix mind on Krishna is by contemplating that how everything in the material world is temporary, and fixing mind on anything other than Krishna will result in misery with the repeated birth and death cycle in this material world. Therefore, let us fix our mind on Krishna to attain Krishna, to attain his eternal abode. Therefore, 8.5 is essentially the crux of chapter 8, where it says, Antakale chamam eva, smaran muktva kalevaram, that remember Krishna. And in this section, from verses 15 to 22, the temporary nature of all of material existence and even Brahmaji's abode is also temporary, is described. Plus, a comparison is given with the eternal spiritual abode. And in the next section, from verses 23 onwards till end of chapter 8, Krishna will focus that devotees should focus on remembering Krishna and not worry about the various methods by which one can attain him or attain the supreme destination. So go back to your visual of yoga ladder, that there are so many paths one can follow. And Krishna is saying, don't worry about anything and everything. Just focus on adding bhakti no matter where you are. Bhakti will elevate anyone and everyone from whatever be your level. Therefore, just have this impetus to do bhakti if you already are not doing bhakti. So section 6 is verses 23 to 28. Title is Remembrance by Bhakti Yoga is easier than compared to Ashtanga Yoga. Now, what Krishna is going to describe in this set of verses, these are very technical terms. And to understand this requires a lot of preliminary Vedic knowledge, which we are not familiar with. Therefore, we will cover these at a high level rather than going into hair-pulling details, and just understand from a high level point. Pratyush Prabhu, 23 translation.
Hare Krishna. 23. O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back.
So, what Krishna is going to describe is that if yogi leaves the body at a particular time, then the yogi will not come back to the material world. Or if the yogi is not able to time his departure properly, then the yogi will have to return to this material world. Pratish Prabhu, 23 purport.
The unalloyed devotees of the Supreme Lord, who are totally surrendered souls, do not care when they leave their bodies or by what method. They leave everything in Krishna's hands and so easily and happily return to Godhead. But those who are not unalloyed devotees and who depend instead on such methods of spiritual realization as Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, and Hatha Yoga must leave the body at a suitable time in order to be sure of whether or not they will return to the world of birth and death. If the yogi is perfect, he can select the time and situation for leaving this material world. But if he is not so expert, his success depends on his accidentally passing away at a certain suitable time. The suitable times at which one passes away and does not come back are explained by the Lord in the next verse. According to Acharya Baladev Vidyabhushana, the Sanskrit word kala used herein refers to the presiding deity of time.
So, Prabhupada makes a funny statement here. In the second paragraph that we just said, Prabhupada says that if one is not so expert, his success depends on his accidentally passing away at a certain suitable time. So here's a question for all of you, which is coming up in the next set of verses that Krishna will describe the two times, meaning the auspicious time and the inauspicious time to leave the body. So if you leave the body at auspicious time, then you do not come back. And if you leave the body at inauspicious time, then you have to come back to the material world. So question for all of you is any one of you able to time your death?
No, Prabhu.
No, Prabhuji.
So therefore, we just read in the purport that Krishna says that my devotees, they don't worry about these timing details. They just focus on doing bhakti yoga, and Krishna will take the devotee back. Versus the timing is mainly meant for Ashtanga yogi, that he tries to live at a particular time so that he either does not come back or comes back. So we'll read these 24, 25, and 26 verses translations together. And we'll also read the purports, but purports later on. First, we'll only read 24, 25, 26 translation. Parth Prabhu, 24, 25, 26 translations only.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Text 24. Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. Text 25. The mystic who passes away from the world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back. Text 26. According to Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back. But when one passes in darkness, he returns. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So Krishna is giving the two paths that if the Ashtanga Yogi leaves the body at an auspicious time during Shukla Paksh, then he does not return to this material world. And if the Ashtanga Yogi leaves the body during inauspicious time, which is Krishna Paksh, then he returns back. So it is very difficult to time our leaving the body. Although elevated Ashtanga Yogi can do it, but we already established that Ashtanga Yoga is gruesome and very difficult. Now, here Krishna is not talking about devotees who follow Bhakti Yoga. These verses about leaving the body at an auspicious and inauspicious time, this Krishna is primarily talking about yogis other than Bhakti yogis. Could be generally is Ashtanga Yogi. Can be other yogis also, but generally Ashtanga Yogi. So what is going on here in chapter 8 is a comparison of the path of yoga, generally Ashtanga Yoga, versus the comparison on the path of Bhakti Yoga. So Krishna recommends the easier path of fixing mind on Krishna through the Bhakti Yoga process because you are engaging your mind and senses in Krishna's service and it's easier to remember Krishna. But Krishna is also doing the analysis of the Ashtanga Yoga path. Now, goal for this comparison is to establish that Bhakti Yoga is easier. All of you already answered. Some of you stayed silent when I asked, can you time your death? Many of you stayed silent. Well, because you didn't have an answer. It's very difficult. And that's what Krishna is trying to establish with this comparison, that this is very difficult. Don't go this path. So there is one path where he has to do austerities and time his death exactly to leave during the auspicious time. Now, even if the Ashtanga Yogi leaves the body at inauspicious time, it's not a waste of time. He will still attain some other higher planets, either heaven or Chandralok, or there are so many planets of sages. He will still attain, but again, anything in the material world is temporary. So it's not a complete waste, but it is still not getting the eternal result. And therefore, in 8.26, Krishna did the comparison that in 8.24 and 25, he explained the two paths. And then Krishna said that if somebody leaves the body during the auspicious time, or as Prabhupada explained, accidentally somebody leaves during the auspicious time, well, they attain eternal abode. Or if the Ashtanga Yogi leaves the body during inauspicious times, then he has to come back. So let's read the purports for 24, 25, and 26, and we'll come back to discuss. Monarch Prabhu, 24, 25, 26 purports. Faster pace.
Hare Krishna. X25 purport. 24 purport. When fire, light, day, and the fortnight of the moon are mentioned, it is to be understood that over all of them there are various presiding deities who make arrangements for the passage of the soul. At the time of death, the mind carries one on the path to a new life. If one leaves the body at the time of designated above, either accidentally or by arrangement, it is possible for him to attain the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Mystics who are advanced in yoga practice can arrange the time and place to leave the body. Others who have no control, if by accident they leave at an auspicious moment, then they will not return to the cycle of birth and death, but otherwise, there is every possibility that they will have to return. However, for the pure devotee in Krishna consciousness, there is no fear of returning, whether he leaves the body at an auspicious or inauspicious moment by accident or arrangement. Text
So,
25.
so Prabhupada, what he did was, although the verse focuses on Ashtanga Yoga, and then Prabhupada adds this last line that for a pure devotee in Krishna consciousness, all these timings don't matter. He just focuses on devotional service. Continue, Monak Prabhu.
Text 25 purport. In the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapil Muni mentions that those who are expert in fruitive activities and sacrificial methods on earth attain to the moon at death. These elevated souls live on the moon for about 10,000 years by demigod calculations and enjoy life by drinking Somarasa. They eventually return to earth. This means that on the moon there are higher classes of living beings, though they may not be perceived by the gross senses.
26 purport.
26 purport. The same description of departure and return is quoted by Acharya Baladev Vidyabhushan from the Chandogaya Upanishad 5.10.3 to 5. Those who are fruitive laborers and philosophical speculators from time immemorial are constantly going and coming. Actually, they do not attain ultimate salvation, for they do not surrender to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So, last class, Chandar had asked this question about leaving the soul. So, what happens is, if you look at, say, the map of how airplanes fly, so we have physical roads on Earth, on the ground when we are traveling on Earth. Similarly, airplanes also have roads or paths that they fly a particular path so that they don't collide with others. Similarly, when soul leaves the body, so there are presiding deities who come and take the soul on a particular path leading to their destination. If the soul has to come back to material world, then first he has to go back to Yamaduta's place, Yamloka, and get punishment there and wait till his next body is ready. And if the soul is supposed to go to Goloka Vrindavan, then the deity or the path is to Goloka Vrindavan. So we don't have the capacity to see those paths. Therefore, just take a visual or somehow look at the map that airplanes have. So airplanes have a path. Similarly, souls also have a path. Now, this airplane path we cannot see. It's virtual. That they will be given a particular coordinates for flying that particular path. Similarly, the soul also flies on that path, is escorted by certain personalities depending on the soul's lifestyle to their destination. Chandar and everybody on the same page?
I have a question, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Annapurna, go ahead.
So I have two questions actually. So one question is, if people are not devotees, if they worship demigods, does the timing of the death matter? Like if they die in the first half, do they achieve Krishna, or how does that work?
So what determines is Smaran Muktva. Right? We have discussed in Yoga Ladder that, as well as in 8.5, that Smaran, that remembrance of Krishna is more important. And we read in the purport about accidentally dying in that auspicious time, yes, you will attain spiritual world. But that accident is very rare. There are no examples in the scriptures that somebody died accidentally in an auspicious time and attained spiritual world, because it's very rare. Yes, it's possible that somebody may die in an accidentally at an auspicious time and will attain spiritual world, but you don't have to live your life on that gamble that I will die accidentally at the auspicious time. No, we focus on doing bhakti yoga, chanting, studying scriptures, remembering Krishna throughout the life, so that we have some possibility to remember Krishna at the time of death. Annapurni?
Yes, Prabhuji. My second question is this medically assisted death. Does that form timing your death, or is it suicide?
Now, this is not a black and white answer. It is largely towards giving up your body before your scheduled time of death. So it is largely towards suicide, although it's not described as suicide. So what scriptures have said that if you do not have the capacity to give life to anyone, then you do not have the capacity to take life of anyone. Even if somebody is giving up their body with under this pretext of assisted dying, well, you are giving up your body before your karma has exhausted in that body. Annapurni?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Chandra?
This was a burning question I had.
Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you.
Chandra?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have one question.
Path Prabhu, hold on. Chandra first.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a question. As it's a very good example you gave, aeroplane and the time of the death, the route is made for us, how to go upward. But I just want to clarify a little bit here. The route it's given here, as you are explaining, by the Krishna is the higher, topmost higher who made the route probably, and or Golok Vrindavan Dham is the where we have to go in the end. But in the way, in the process of getting there, the root of that is that the demigods, or there is a stop through this material, since there is so much entangles, desire, lust, all this is around us.
So there are many personalities who will guide the soul, not guide, but escort. The word is escort. That once the soul leaves the body, the soul has the abilities to see, but the soul has no ability, no control. The soul is literally escorted by those personalities to their destination. There is no stoppage. So if you are a pure devotee, this is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, that if you are a pure devotee, the example is given with Srila Vyasadeva, that Srila Vyasadeva, of course, he is Krishna himself, but he's demonstrating a particular point there, that Srila Vyasadeva attained perfection and he's traveling to Goloko Vrindavan. On the way, Srila Vyasadeva saw Brahman effulgence, realization, and Paramatma realization levels, but he bypassed those because though they are incomplete. So here what we are referring to is from going from one life to another life. That another life can be within the material world, another life, or it can be to Vaikuntha planets, or it can be to Goloko Vrindavan. Now you said about heaven, or even say you can also attain Brahmaloka's abode Satyaloka, they are still within the material world. So with the airplane, the path that I am describing is that based on the karma, based on the activities, and based on the destination that the soul has to go, is placed on a particular pathway, and there are personalities that will escort the soul to that destination. Whether it is Yamaloka for punishment, or heaven, or Satyaloka, or Vaikunta, or Goloka Vrindavan, the soul is escorted to that destination. Chandar?
And I just want to know who is the escorters?
There are many. You don't have one. There are many, many of them. We don't even know all of them. For example, last class I had shown the visual for Yamadutas and I had shown the visual for Vishnu Dutas. Yes, two we know, but there are many escorters who escort. So for example, about if the soul has to go to Yamaloka for punishment, then Yamadutas will come and escort the soul. So you have the visual on the screen that I had shown last time, that this is Ajamil and Ajamil's soul is being dragged. So these on the right side, you have Yamadutas who are trying to drag the soul. You see how he's chained out, and they are trying to drag the soul to Yamaloka. And these bluish four-ended forms are Vishnu Dutas who are trying to protect Ajamil, because Ajamil called out the name of Narayan, although he was calling out his son's name. Now in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's described that when Yamadutas drag the soul, that punishment is horrible. Horrible means horrible. I don't even recommend anybody to read, although you can read to get the impetus to not do any sins anymore, so that you don't get dragged and punished by the Yamadutas. So on the way to Yamaloka, the soul is punished very badly. And at Yamaloka, the soul is punished very badly because the soul has lived a sinful life. Chanda, does that help you?
Yes, it brought much clarity to my question. My another question is, like, why Krishna has sent us here? Why couldn't Krishna kept us there? Like when to go through this life, and then around us, surrounding, and then three modes of nature. It's coming back and forth, like with so much practice.
Yeah. So a very good point and a very practical inquiry. So this is described, I referenced 13.22 verse, which is the third junction point in Bhagavad Gita. So this described that we are here in the material world because we had the desire to enjoy modes of material nature. Krishna actually told us, no, don't go. This is a horrible place. But we all were adamant. No, I want to go. No, we were literally adamant. I'm telling you, all of us were in front of Krishna, where Krishna told all of us, don't consider enjoying modes of material nature because this is a horrible place, entangling. But we said, no, I want to be the controller. And this became the envy, that we became envious of Krishna. And therefore, we are in the material. Krishna did not send us. We decided to come to the material world. And Krishna only facilitated creation of the material world to satisfy our own desire. Chandar?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes.
Srivatsa Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. So, I mean, I also had two questions. The second question, well, it arose as Chandra Mataji was asking this, and you were saying that we chose to come. Now, isn't the entire universe governed by spiritual laws? And so, an individual, like living states, just kind of individual living entities just kind of based on their desires desires, they go back and forth from different realms, whether it's the earthly realm or the spiritual realm. So when you say like we are desiring to come down, is it because we have fallen from the spiritual space?
Yeah, so we
Because
all
this is
were in the spiritual world, and because of our desires, I'm going to show you a visual in chapter 15 that it is the desire that
So-
flipped us over to material world. And this material world is under material laws, not spiritual laws, but material laws. And material laws means that based on my desire, so when creation happens, the every day of Brahmaji when it starts, which is the start of creation, we come in front of Brahmaji as souls, and based on our desire, we are given a particular body from the one of the 8.4 million life form. So if we say have a body of a dog, then the material laws are very stringent that the dog will bark, that the dog will live in a particular way. The dog cannot fly. The laws are very stringent that the dog's body does not have the ability to fly, period. You cannot fly. Similarly, let me finish, yeah, I'll give you time. Similarly, if when we come in front of Brahmaji, if we get a bird body, it's inbuilt within us that we will fly. Similarly, if we get a human body or any of the 8.4 million life forms, there are very stringent rules for each of these 8.4 million life forms. Now, if somebody has a dog body, he cannot live like a cat. Right? The laws are very stringent. We read in one of the verse today, that helpless word, that we are helpless. Yeah, we have the illusion of control, but actually we are helpless. We are under the stringent laws of material nature. Srivatsa Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, but why would someone in their sane state of consciousness choose something lower from something higher? Is it because of ignorance? I want to say ignorance, but you would think most of the souls would have conquered that if they're already in the spiritual realm. They would have conquered these lower states.
Yeah, you are correct that that we have heard this from Chaitanya Chandas, that why did we become envious of Krishna when we were in the spiritual world? So there are answers given in the scriptures, but still it is very difficult to understand or even comprehend the answers given in the scriptures. So yes, your point about ignorance is absolutely correct. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Kunti Maharani summarizes material existence in 3 words. Avidya, Kama, Karma bhi. Avidya is the starting point, ignorance, and Kama means the desires, and karma bhi means the material activities that we do to fulfill the desires. The root cause of material existence is ignorance and our desires. Srivatsa Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Can I ask my second one?
Yeah.
So while we were reading verse number 8.26, in the translation it says, when one passes in the light, he does not come back, but when one passes in the darkness, he returns. This kind of dichotomy, it seemed initially when the translation was read, I thought light and darkness implied the states of consciousness. But later you mentioned that it is just the time of day. So why is there such a, I mean, to us, it seems very basic. Like, okay, in the light you exist, but many yogis use the darkness also. Shivaratri is there. So why this distinction between times of the day? One is a higher state of consciousness, one is lower.
Very good inquiry. So let me point you back to the verse number 24 and 25. What does it say? That during the 6 months time, during the waxing moon, and
Yes,
then
Prabhu.
the 6-month time during the waning. Now, do you think that during 6 months there is no day and no night?
There is, of course.
Right? So this
Yeah.
day and night is not referring to day and night. This passing during the light is not referring to passing during daytime. That's not what it's referring to.
I
So
see.
if you go back to verse number 24, Sanskrit, it says Shukla Paksh. And Shukla Paksh means auspicious time. It can be any time in the 24 hour, 6 months, any time during those 6 months time. And then verse 25, it says Krishna Paks, that is inauspicious time. So here Krishna does not refer to Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. It is referring to Krishna Paksha, means the inauspicious time. So again, it also says during the 6 months, when during smoke, night, fortnight of the waning moon, Are Baba, 6 months there is day, there is night. So it's not referring to the day per se as day. It's referring to Shukla Paks as being the day, meaning the auspicious time, and Krishna Paks meaning the night or the inauspicious time. Focus is not on light and darkness. Focus is on Shukla Paks means auspicious time. It can be any time. And focus is on Krishna Paks meaning inauspicious time, which can be any time. Does that help you?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Very good inquiry. Janisha?
No, Prabhuji, I got my answer. Thank you.
Parth Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have one question. That is, do we have any choice that when we should leave our body? That means, in case of suicide, if somebody attempts suicide, it may happen that he survive, or sometimes his attempt is succeeded. So it is learned, it is heard that if we commit suicide, then our soul will be waiting to get a body. So what is the conception in this area?
Yeah. So if somebody commits suicide, you are correct that they live as a ghost for rest of the life of what the original lifespan was. So we have no control. Your question, we have control, we have no control, and Krishna will explain this in the exact next verse that we are about to read, verse number 27. Krishna says, as devotees, don't worry about these times. Just focus on doing devotional service and Krishna will take you back. Parth Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, then we don't have any control over our over leaving our body, because we may try to commit suicide, and it may success, or we can escape from that event.
Yeah.
So it's all
Suicide, you will never have success.
okay.
Right? So we have no control. Forget it.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you.
Dhara?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a follow-up question on assisted death. So if the doctor who is administering the medication for assisted death, do they get the negative
bad karma? Yes.
Bad karma, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they do. It's the degree of bad karma is less, but the bad karma is still there.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Now, in terms of what Parth Prabhu is asking about time, do we have any control of time? Now, this is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, about Bhishma Dev, that when Bhishma Dev left the body, Bhishma Dev had control on when to leave the body. Of course, Bhishma Dev left the body in front of Parthasarathi Krishna. So he, of course, attained the Vaikuntha planets. But it is described in Canto 1, Chapter 9, when Bhishma Dev left the body, at that time on itself became auspicious, because time is a servant of Krishna and to serve the pure devotee, Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev is not only a pure devotee, Bhishma Dev is one of the 12 Mahajans. So in the entire creation, there are only 12 Mahajans. Bhishma Dev is one of them. Mahajan means one who knows everything about spirituality. So Bhishma Dev is one of them. Brahmaji is one of them. Sadashiva is one of them. Yamaraj is one of them. Sukadev Goswami is one of them. One of the 12. So I'm referring to 12 Mahajans. I don't remember all of them right now, but they're in Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.20. So time on itself became auspicious to serve the devotee. That's what Krishna is emphasizing. That you don't worry about these times. You just focus on doing devotional service and Krishna will ensure to take you back home, back to Godhead. Everybody on the same page? Questions, comments, realizations? All right. So what I'm describing, that how Krishna will ensure the success of devotee is described in Bhagavad Gita 12.6 and 7. And you have the visual for this, that if you do devotional service, then Krishna or Vishnu will come and lift the devotee from the ocean of material existence. So it's coming up in 12.6 and 7, but you have the visual for this. In 12.6 and 7, Krishna will say that I become the swift deliverer of the devotee. All right. So let's read next verse, which is 27. Matan Prabhu, 27 translation.
Hare Krishna. Although the devotee know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore be always fixed in devotion.
Right? You all already did ask this question, some of you. Krishna clearly says, don't worry about these paths. Just be fixed on devotion. And the visual I just showed you, Krishna says that I will take you back. Now, we already discussed this. One may wonder how to take care of all these precise factors on when to leave. Therefore, Krishna says in 27, don't bother about all these. In 6.47 also, chapter 6, verse 47, Krishna has stated that best yogi is one who remembers Krishna at the time of death, and therefore he returns to Krishna. Therefore, one should focus on remembrance of Krishna. And here in 8.27, Krishna is saying to be connected with Krishna via yoga. And therefore, don't bother about these technical details given in 8.24, 25, 26. As well as we have discussed the same point in 8.5, where Acharyas have explained that don't worry about trying to remember Krishna at the time of death, because death is very difficult. It's like 1,000 scorpions biting you at the same time. I described to you my own personal example that I was at a dentist for a simple filling job. But still I could not remember verses because of my bodily attachment. So even just that simple operation, I could not come out of my bodily attachment. Well, that is like much more difficult than this. So how am I going to remember Krishna? It's going to be impossible. Therefore, Acharyas have said for 8.5, don't worry about trying to remember Krishna at the time of death, simply focus on remembering Krishna throughout your life by doing japa, by studying scriptures, by doing devotional services, by serving devotees, etc. Matan Prabhu, 27 purport, faster pace.
Hare Krishna. Krishna is here advising Arjuna that he should not be disturbed by different paths the soul can take when leaving the material world. A devotee of the Supreme Lord should not worry whether he will depart by arrangement or by accident. The devotee should be firmly established in Krishna consciousness and chant Hare Krishna. He should know that concern over either of these two paths is troublesome. The best way to absorb in Krishna consciousness is to be always dovetailed in his service, and this will make one's path to the spiritual kingdom safe, certain and direct. The word Yoga Yukta is especially significant in this verse. One who is firm in Yoga is constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness in all his activities. Sri Rupa Goswami advises Anaktasya Visayan Jadatham Ubhayunchadaha. One should be unattached in material affairs and do everything in Krishna consciousness. Why this system, which is called Yukta Vairagya, one attains perfection. Therefore, the devotee is not disturbed by these descriptions because he knows that his passage to the Supreme Abode is guaranteed by devotional service.
So the first line in 27 purport is what Chandra was asking. I'll read that first line. Krishna is here advising Arjuna that he should not be disturbed by the different paths the soul can take when leaving the material world. So this is what I was describing with the airplane flying through the various paths, which are not physically visible, but they are virtual. Similarly, the soul also goes through the various paths once the soul leaves the body. And there is a pilot or the escorter of the soul. Chandar, everybody, questions, comments, realizations?
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. That makes really visual for me giving this example.
Very good. Very good. Annapurni?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So my realization is that having desires leads to dukkha lema shashvatam. Is that right?
You are correct. Because of desire. So it's a visual coming up in chapter 15 that the visual is that you have material world at the bottom and you have spiritual world at the top, and in between the dividing line is desires. And this is also coming up in chapter 13 verse 22, which I have already referenced multiple times today. It's a third junction point. It's a very important junction point in Bhagavad Gita, which also has the word bhungte. Bhungte means desire. Desire is the cause of why we are in the material world.
The punishment. Second question, if people die on auspicious days like Narsimha Chaturdashi or Ekadashis, where do they go?
Yeah. His guest Chetan Chandas was asked this question that we may know Saddam Hussein, the tyrant dictator of this in the material world. Now, Saddam Hussein was hanged to death on Ekadashi day. Does that mean he attained spiritual world?
Wow.
No, so it just happened that he was hanged on Ekadashi day. Well, he does not know anything about Ekadashi day. So yes, it is auspicious that if somebody leaves the body on auspicious day, say Narsimha Chaturdashi day or Ekadashi day, but then there are many other factors that also play in the mix. That what exactly were you doing throughout your life, right? That's what you will be remembering. Therefore, 8.5 says Smaran Muktva, that what are you remembering at the time of death? Not Kirtan Muktva, right? You're not, you cannot just put a gun on your head and say Krishna and die at the most auspicious time. You cannot cheat Krishna that way. We heard this from Chetan Chandas. So yes, if somebody naturally leaves the body, say on the auspicious day, say it is Narsimha Chaturdashi, yeah, it's very auspicious. that Lord has arranged for a devotee soul to live on an auspicious day. But beyond that, it's only Krishna who knows how karma works and the destination. We cannot know, we don't have no control on it. We can only pray that I gave the example that if a devotee or even a materialistic person is about to leave the body, well, we can create the environment around them, that you chant japa, or you play Prabhupada japa, or you read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam verses, have Krishna's picture in front of them. So you create the auspicious environment. It still is up to that individual soul. Yes, it is very auspicious day to die. Say if it is Narsimha Chaturdashi or Ekadashi or whatever other auspicious day it be, but there are other factors that come into play as well. Annapurni?
Thank you, Prabhuji. It's very complex, but I believe Bhakti Yoga is the only way to go.
Yeah, and you are absolutely correct. We have discussed this in Yoga Ladder, that Bhakti Yoga is your only option to go back home to Godhead.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
All right. Last verse for chapter 8. Srivastava Prabhu.
Sorry, that was by accident. But do you want me to read?
No, no, you already read. Others were yet to read.
Okay.
But very good desire. Yeah. So Megha, verse 28, translation and first paragraph, purport.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. Purport. This verse is the summation of the 7th and 8th chapters, which particularly deal with Krishna consciousness and devotional service. One has to study the Vedas under the guidance of the spiritual master and undergo many austerities and penances while living under his care. A brahmachari has to live in the home of the spiritual master just like a servant, and he must beg alms from door to door and bring them to the spiritual master. He takes food only under the master's order, and if the master neglects to call the student for food that day, the student fasts. These are some of the Vedic principles for observing brahmacharya.
So Krishna says that whatever results you can achieve by yajna dana tapa will be punya, of course. But Krishna says that surpassing all these results of yajna dana tapa is that if you become a bhakti yogi, you will anyway get the results of yajna dana tapa. Additionally, the bhakti yogi will attain supreme destination, supreme abode of the Lord. And this chapter 8, paragraph number 4, Megha will read, is a very important paragraph to understand. Many of you have read this paragraph when you all started Bhagavad Gita study, that many of you were reading Bhagavad Gita by yourself and you were saying it's very difficult to understand. And Prabhupada explains this point in paragraph number 4 of 8.28, that yes, it is very difficult to understand by yourself. The only way to understand is by hearing in devotee association, which is exactly what we are trying to do. Megha, paragraph number 4, which starts the words idam viditva.
The words idam viditva indicate that one should understand the instructions given by Sri Krishna in this chapter and the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. One should try to understand these chapters not by scholarship or mental speculation, but by hearing them in association with the devotees.
Right? What did Prabhupada say? One should try to understand not by scholarship, not by mental speculation, because it is not possible. You try to study and by yourself, it is not possible. And how to understand Bhagavad Gita? Prabhupada finishes the sentences, but by hearing the scriptures in association with devotees, which is our class. So, if you try to be a jnani of say, I will study by myself and try to understand every tiny bit, that is not possible. It is only when you hear from devotees, and Krishna says this in 10.10, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. He says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam, that Krishna gives the intelligence to the devotee by which the devotee comes to Krishna. So the qualification is become a bhakta, become a devotee. Krishna is known as Bhakta Vatsal. Krishna is not known as Jnani Vatsal. No, Krishna is known as Bhakta Vatsal. Therefore, become a devotee. Questions, comments, realizations?
I have a question. So
Yeah, Matan Prabhu.
we distribute books. So how come the new people receiving the book, we can expect them to understand Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah, we are not distributing books on our own. Krishna has already determined who is going to get the books. We are only instruments. We are like the postmaster. And when they get the book is not ordinary book. The book is Krishna himself. And even if they read one page or even if they touch the book, they are getting in association with Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, which starts their bhakti yoga process. And at some point, because of the association of the devotees carrying the books, as well as the association of pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada through the book and Krishna through the book also, that's what jumpstarts their bhakti, as well as say when you give the little even that little chocolate or chips that you carry as prasad, that's what starts their bhakti. Madan Prabhu.
Okay, thank you.
So the key points or the essence of chapter 8, attaining the supreme Akshara Brahman Yoga. First is remember Krishna at the time of death to attain Krishna's nature. Otherwise, you will attain whatever else you will remember. Second is remembering Krishna by Bhakti Yoga is easier as compared to Ashtanga Yoga or other processes. Third is serve Krishna entire life so that Krishna remembers you at the time of death. When we say serve Krishna, it includes serving devotees also. Fourth is highest to the lowest material world planets, whether it be heaven, whether it be Brahmaloka, whether it be earth, whether it be hell, all are places of misery plus all are temporary. And the fifth point is Krishna's supreme abode is eternal and is attained only by Ananya Bhakti, only by pure devotional service. Questions, comments, realizations? Srivatsa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I had a question, but it is a little tangent, but it is because of the chapter 8. Can I still ask it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I had a question as yuga cycles change from one to another. Is it purely because of the passage of time and the spiritual laws taking into effect, and eventually the Supreme Lord intervening?
Yeah,
or is there such a thing?
No, it is literally what is carved out as the laws of material nature. That's how the yuga cycle continues.
No, but my question was, does the Supreme Lord send, is there such a thing as spiritual intervention through elevated souls? Because I know in certain other schools of thought, this is there, where anointing and this, certain very high ranking spiritual souls take birth but are untouched simply for transformation.
Yeah, so the point is correct that if you are a pure devotee, means you are not under the control of material nature. Just as our dear Srila Prabhupada, there are many other spiritual masters who are pure devotees, or even pure devotees, whether or not they are spiritual masters. Material nature does not touch them. So they are never under the control of material nature. So this one time, Srila Prabhupada was very sick, and based on the medical test, the doctor told Prabhupada, you should be in a lot of pain based on the degree of disease. Yeah, Prabhupada says, possibly, but I don't feel it. Because Prabhupada was never under the control of material nature. Not being under the control of material nature means not being under the control of body, because body is also material nature. So yes, Prabhupada was in this body to execute what was required in the material world. So I have described the analogy that body is like the space suit that astronauts put on when they go on space. Similarly, soul, to interact in the material world, soul does not belong here, but they have to interact here. Therefore, they need this space suit, which is this body and mind. But Srila Prabhupada was never under the control of material nature. Therefore, the disease was there on the body. Prabhupada was not impacted. So your point that somebody cannot be appointed as a pure devotee.
No, I
He
see.
has to be pure by his desires to serve Krishna only. Then he is a pure devotee.
No, like for example, Srila Prabhupada or Prahlad Maharaj. Did they already, was it predestined already that this soul already possesses the spiritual pedigree? So sooner or later, they are going to do something because of to establish higher divine will, as opposed to
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. So Prahlad Maharaj is also one of the 12 Mahajans. So Prahlad Maharaj is already spiritual. He's already a pure devotee, right? He was already destined for what he was supposed to do. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada, we also heard in chapter 6 from Chaitanya Chandas, where Prabhupada directly came from spiritual world, that Krishna himself asked Prabhupada that go to spiritual world to fast forward spirituality. So it's already destined that these acharyas are sent to the material world for a particular purpose, to facilitate in Krishna's mission to get everybody back home, back to Godhead.
But is this not breaking spiritual law, Prabhu?
It's not breaking spiritual law. It's Krishna's mission to get everybody back home, back to Godhead. Well, somebody has to get us out of ignorance. And that's what Prabhupada did. To get us out of ignorance, Prabhupada gave us all these scriptures. Otherwise, how are we going to get out of ignorance?
Like slowly, wheel of time churns and then...
Wheel of time is described, we have discussed this in 4.2. The wheel of time destroys everything. Wheel of time does not elevate us. For coming out of the wheel of time, we have to get out of ignorance, and therefore we need acharyas.
For sure. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Chandar?
Thank you so much. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, it's really invoking my thoughts on pain. When pure devotee is under the pain, like Prabhupada ji was, like, what's wrong not feeling the pain?
Because they are not under the control of material nature. Why you and I feel the pain is because I think I am this body, I am under material nature. So there's nothing wrong in feeling or not feeling the pain. The point is that Prabhupada is not under the control of material nature. That's the point I'm being referring to.
But when the body is not well, of course, the spiritual progress won't be there. because the mind and all the senses going towards the pain.
Yeah, so and that is for some mind and senses going to the pain is for somebody like me who is attached to body. Therefore, my mind is then focused on the pain. But for pure devotee, they are just putting on the suit of this body and mind. The pure devotee is functioning at the level of soul. He is not functioning at the level of body like me. Right? So their spiritual progress is not hindered by bodily limitations. And this is described in Shishopanishad that don't look at the pure devotee through the material eye lens because their body is not material. Yes, the body is still decaying, but their body is spiritual. And there's actually one, I forget the name right now. There's actually one Acharya whose body is maintained in some place in India. In that original body, the body became so spiritual that the body does not decay. That body is still lying. It's visible to everyone. It's not lying under the ground or someplace in samadhi. The body is sitting right in front on the altar. What the pure devotee was in that body. And this is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, for with the Srila Narad Muni's example, that the material body turns spiritual just as when you have a lightning flash, the darkness becomes very bright. That's how with that lightning flash, for a pure devotee, the material body becomes spiritual. Therefore, for all these pure devotees, when they leave the body, including our dear Srila Prabhupada, the body of a pure devotee is not burned because it is spiritual. It is not a material body. So even for Srila Prabhupada, the body was not burned, but was put in the ground because it's a spiritual body. But for that particular Acharya, I don't remember the name right now, that body is as if it's a live body, even though the body is many decades, many hundreds of years old, but it is identically without decay as it was hundreds of years ago.
So, Prabhuji, my question is, like, there is a soul which is spiritual, which is strong in spirituality and devotional and all that. And then there is a body,
yeah,
which soul is covered with.
Yeah.
So when the cover or machinery in books, like here is mentioned, it's a machinery, but I'm just trying to understand these two facts, soul and the cover of the body, when they are not correlating with each other, how the soul can be peaceful. I mean, I'm just trying to understand this.
Yeah. So just as the astronauts put on a spacesuit, the spacesuit cannot do anything by themselves. Like the space has particular things in their fingers, and they have the mask, and they have the oxygen running. But the spacesuit on itself cannot do anything unless the astronaut picks the screwdriver with that spacesuit and fixes the screw on the International Space Station. Similarly, the body on itself cannot do anything. This is described at great length in Srimad Bhagavatam that soul is the center point of the intelligence of the mind and the intelligence and the consciousness. The mind, the brain on itself cannot do anything. The brain has nothing to do. It's because of the soul that the brain and the mind and the intelligence functions in a particular way. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, not Canto 1, in Canto 4, Chapter 7, this example is given that Daksha was killed, and then Brahmaji asked Lord Shiva to revive Daksha's body. So because of punishment, Daksha's body was revived with a goat's head. Now, goat is an animal But when Daksha woke up with that goat head, Daksha was still normally functioning, normally doing prayers to Vishnu and asking for forgiveness from Shiva and pacifying Shiva, as if he was Daksha from before. Why? Because the soul Daksha was functioning. So it's not the body that determines, it's the soul that determines the intelligence and the functioning of the mind, not the brain. The scientist may think whatever they think, but Srimad Bhagavatam has actual examples that body is nothing, soul is everything. Chandar?
That's I'm every time I have discussion on this, because I see as a science point of view more, or logically, but I know it's taking me away from there.
You are absolutely correct. So logic and scientist, I don't say scientists are wrong. Our scriptures don't say science is wrong. Rather, what the scriptures say, that whatever science knows is partial of the entire knowledge. So you cannot rely on the partial knowledge. Plus, science don't know anything about spirituality. They are mostly focused on material and mostly focused on the technical aspects of how the material works. But they ignore that beyond that there is the sanction of the Lord, or there is the designer, the Lord himself, which the scientists don't know. So you have to go away from science for sure. And in chapter 17, we'll soon discuss that our logic is also imperfect.
So Prabhuji, like you gave example of this some sage that when he passed away, the body stayed.
Yeah.
So it means the soul makes the body stronger, even the body is not functional.
You are correct that the soul transforms the body as spiritual. Now, soul within each one of us is very powerful, right? So the example I gave, which is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 5 and 6, which is Narad Muni's example, that Narad Muni was a 5-year-old boy in his previous life, and Narad Muni became a pure devotee in his previous life as a 5-year-old boy, where his body transformed from material body to spiritual like a lightning flash.
So, like when we live in this, again, it's not making sense according to our scripture, but when we see practically in this world, we always go for vitamins to nourish this body.
Because you are at bodily level. If you don't want to take vitamins, become a pure devotee, you will not need any of those vitamins.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very good. All right. I'll briefly talk about chapter 9 in the last 20 some more minutes that we have. We also have Diksha. So now we have 2 Diksha. So we will distinguish Diksha as Diksha from Nepal, who was there from before, and now we have Diksha from Sri Lanka. That's how we'll distinguish. And Diksha is also in the process of getting caught up on past recordings. So Diksha, please feel free to ask questions even though you are joining partway through. And don't stop your questions. Diksha from Sri Lanka.
No, I'm from India. Sure, Prabhuji, I will ask questions. Right now, I'm just learning and I'm just understanding the thing, so I don't have much question.
Okay, well, I called you from Sri Lanka because the one who gave me your name said you are from Sri Lanka. But sorry, my mistake. So I will update my records. All right. So chapter 9. Now you all had spiritual endeavor to complete. And some of you connected with me offline. And I'm pretty sure you all had fun. And a couple of devotees had a little longer conversation with me on this spiritual endeavor, and I will let them share their experience. Now, many of you did get portions of this right, or some of you also got a lot of it right, even though this was a really difficult question. Devotees first said, this is very difficult. And I said, yeah, keep thinking. That was my response to many of you. So we are in the heart of Bhagavad Gita section of Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhakti section of Bhagavad Gita. This is the heart of Bhagavad Gita, which is the Bhakti section, and not only the entire Bhakti section, but we are in the heart of the Bhakti section. So chapters 1 to 6 talk about progression from karma to bhakti. Chapters 13 to 18 talk about progression from jnana to bhakti. And chapters 7 to 12 focus directly on bhakti itself. In chapter 7, Krishna introduced bhakti briefly in chapter 7. And in chapter 8, there was a comparison of bhakti yoga and ashtanga yoga. And in 8.14, Krishna established that bhakti is easier process. And by bhakti, it is easy to attain Krishna. So chapter 9 is titled The Most Confidential Knowledge. In Sanskrit is Rajaguhya Yoga. So this word, the most confidential, comes from chapter 9 verses 1 and 2, where the word is Rajavidya Rajaguhyam, which is verse number 2. The Rajaguhyam, that is the most confidential or the king of confidential knowledge. And this is how the Sanskrit name comes, Rajaguhya Yoga. Now chapter 9 has 34 verses, and 19 of the 34 verses are key verses, meaning more than 50% of the verses of chapter 9 are key verses. Obviously, you can understand that chapter 9 is a very important chapter. Now, you had this homework question, what is middle of Bhagavad Gita? Now, many of you did not know the answer, and I had asked you all at the previous class that you have to follow what we have studied in Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 to connect with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So Guru is far away. Guru does not have day-to-day time for all of his disciples. Guru generally gives large guidance at a high level. Now Sadhu means devotee and Shastra means scripture. So you, of course, you start with scriptures. And if you don't get answers from your scriptures, you're supposed to connect with Sadhu to discuss and get your answers. And they will share their experience. So I had also described last time that 10.9 is a very important verse, means the activities of a devotee is that the devotees come together and discuss Krishna Katha with themselves. So if you want to be a devotee, you are already a devotee, but if you want to advance on the path of devotee, well, then you have to act like a devotee. So read 10.9 later on by yourself. The Sanskrit says, Machitta mat katha prana. Bodhayanta parasparam. Kathayantas chamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So I will let couple of devotees speak their experience about this middle of Bhagavad Gita that many of you did give the right answers, and I'll come to those answers. So Sumnima and Dhara, you want to please explain quickly what was going on, your endeavor and your multiple iterations that you are going through?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. What happened is, first I took lots of time, more than usual, to come to, I thought, let me come to a conclusion, and I finally submitted. And then Prabhuji again, gave me a question back on that. So again, throughout the week, I thought I had come to some conclusion, but then again, Prabhuji asked another question. So it was, I think, the longest time I'd ever spent trying to search for an answer. And I think it did feel really good at the end, because I read chapter 8 and 9 a lot. Then, usually I would just read one through because we had completed, but then this time I was going through chapter 8 and 9, like trying to search answer a lot of times. So that was how it went.
So without Sumnima realizing, this seemingly innocuous open-ended question ended up Sumnima doing bhakti yoga for so long, remembering Krishna, even though she doesn't realize that, although she would have realized. Okay, very good. Dhara?
Hare Krishna. I had a similar experience. I also took longer than usual. I passed the deadline of Wednesday, and then I was not getting anywhere. So then I ended up messaging Prabhuji, like, I do not understand question. And then he sent a message saying, meditate and chant, and the answer will come. So I did have some idea, and again, I think it was not right. So Prabhuji explained again, and then slowly, eventually, I got something which I wasn't sure whether it was right or wrong, but I did ended up sending it, and I was only trying to get answer for second question, but the answer for this first question, I realized that as well, and I realized it after finishing my chanting.
Yeah, Dhara, what did I say about meditate? Explain that point.
Meditate on the question and
ask
Krishna to help.
Yeah, so Dhara actually got the answer right after this multiple iterations. So this is a live example. I told Dhara to meditate on the question and ask Krishna while doing your japa. Ask Krishna this question. Krishna, what is this question? Give me the answer. Dhara actually got the right answer, which I am about to give you. So this is live example 10.9. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Not 10.9. Dadami is 10.10. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. So during your japa, how many of you have your mind wandering? Nobody?
I did, Prabhuji.
Always Prabhu for me.
Always
too.
Prabhuji.
It's a constant work in progress.
Right. So these are ways to bring your mind under control. So some of you connected with me when you had the wrong answers. Not wrong, I shouldn't say wrong answers, but I pointed you to something to endeavor a little more. Many of you, it's not only Sumnima and Dhara, there were others also, where I say think. So what am I trying to do? I am trying to make you think of Krishna without you even realizing. Now there are still very few devotees who are not endeavoring. You should connect with me offline immediately. It's only very few of you, because you will lose spiritual taste very soon. So I can only tell you so much. I cannot force you beyond a point. And it's the same devotees who are not endeavoring. Well, you will not continue Bhagavad Gita and spirituality for very long. I have record from all previous batches. All those who do not endeavor very soon leave their spirituality. So one time, two time, say when you have real some material world pressure, misery, that is understandable. But all those who are not endeavoring, there is a series of questions where you have not endeavored, well, you will leave spirituality very soon. I can tell you right now. So endeavor. And all those who did not complete this endeavor as well as last couple of endeavors, you should please connect with me offline so that I can fine tune. I'm not here to chastise any one of you. So many of you responded. What was my response to you all? Besides Sumnima and Dhara, there were many who responded saying, I don't know the answer. What was my response to you all? Everybody? Those who connected? Quickly.
Prabhuji, you guided towards the right answer, the pointers of class 1.
All right.
All the yogas very well, which I stupidly even did not read correctly. Sorry. It have been more mindful.
That's okay. So I'm not chastise. I didn't chastise Polomi, right? Polomi, did I chastise?
Not at all, Prabhuji. You were extremely patient and encouraging.
Right. Rest of you? Many of you connected with me and you got a response. Think. Somebody? Janisha, you wanted to say something?
Yes, Prabhuji, you asked me to think about it about this thing. So yes.
All right. So let me answer this middle of Bhagavad Gita. So I will, and rest of the chapter 9, I will cover in following class because it's a very heavy chapter. It's a very important chapter. And this middle of Bhagavad Gita, there are multiple ways you can look at middle of Bhagavad Gita. So because Bhagavad Gita has even number of 18 chapters, you cannot have chapter 9 as the center, right? Many of you answered chapter 9 as the center. Well, chapter 9 cannot be the center because it's even number. How can you divide even number as one chapter? So if you were to look at from a chapter perspective, chapters 9 and 10 are the middle two chapters. And if you were to look at the midpoint, meaning if you were to look at the last verse of chapter 9 and the first verse of chapter 10, that's your midpoint depending on how you look at, means if you look at from the chapter perspective. So both these verses 9.34 and 10.1 are very, very important verses. The middle of Bhagavad Gita 9.34 verse. 9.34 verse is called by acharyas as the essence of the essence of the essence of the essence verse, plus 9.34 verse is the only verse that is almost repeated as 18.65. So why these four essences? So 9.34 is the essence of chapter 9. Chapter 9 is the essence of Bhakti section of Bhagavad Gita. Bhakti section is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic literature. Therefore, 9.34 is called by acharyas as the essence of the essence of the essence of the essence verse. And 10.1 is also a very important verse. 10.1 verse has the verse Shrunu me paramam vacha. Paramam means hear this supreme instruction. And this verse paramam vacha again gets repeated towards the end of Bhagavad Gita when Krishna is just about finishing Bhagavad Gita around 18.65-66. These words paramam vacha from 10.1 gets repeated. So 9.34 gets repeated 18.65, and around that same verse 10.1 words also get repeated. So I already gave you multiple ways how the center can be. Now another way, the middle of Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita has 700 even number of verses, so you cannot have one verse as the centermost verse. So if you count the number of verses for each chapter, the 350 verse and the 351st verse is the centermost two verses. And you will come to the point of 9.13 and 9.14 as the center two verses from the verse count of the 700 verses. If you take the count from for each chapter, you will find that 9.13 and 9.14 are the centermost verses of Bhagavad Gita, and one of this verse is referring to the highest pure devotee, Srimati Radharani, which is 9.13, and then the next verse, which is 9.14, is of course a key memorization verse. So 9.13 and 14 are referring to pure devotees. And another way to look at the center of Bhagavad Gita is bhakti is also the center of Bhagavad Gita. So some of you did get 9.13, 14 correct. Of course, Dara did get 9.13, 14 correct. And other devotee also, what's his name? Padma Kumar Prabhu is not here. He also got this answer right. And many of you got the bhakti portion as the center also correct. So understand that various ways you can look at what's the center of Bhagavad Gita. That if you look at from the chapter, so chapter 9 and 10 are the centermost chapters. These are very heavy chapters and very important chapters. And if you look at the center two verses from the chapters, is 9.34 and 10.1, very, very important verses. And if you look from the verse count from the 700 verses, 9.13 and 9.14 referring to Srimati Radharani and pure devotees are again very important verses. And of course, bhakti is also the center of Bhagavad Gita. So various ways you can look at it, and all are valid. So I did say to at least to Sumnima and to Dhara also, I think. I think somebody else also, I forget. I did say there are multiple ways you can look at this question and get the answers. Everybody on the same page? Questions, comments, realizations? Annapurni?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is kind of unrelated, but a general question about the revised versions of the Bhagavad Gita. Like, is anything changed in the revised versions, or it is still the original content, or something else is changing?
Revised version as in?
Like I have a very old Bhagavad Gita version, but once when I was reading something.
Yeah, nothing changed except for the original Macmillan version. The Macmillan version original copy, Srila Prabhupada had no money or nothing, and Macmillan said, well, we will print your Bhagavad Gita, but you have to shrink to X number of pages, and Prabhupada had to shrink a lot. But still, whatever was there is valid. It's just you can call the original Macmillan version as a shrinked version. So content does not change from revision after revision. There may be some fine tune in terms of correction, say some word is misspelled. I don't even think that is even there, because the scriptures went through rigorous process. There were no errors to begin with. It's just that the new version means that the print copy is different. That's all it is.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
And just a minute ago, we called Padma Kumar Prabhu's name, and somehow Padma Kumar Prabhu just joined our session. Thank you for joining, Padma Kumar Prabhu. I was just saying that You got the middle of Bhagavad Gita 9.13-14 answer right. So I was just referring to your name just a minute ago. You somehow heard to the Paramatma within and you joined the class. Thank you for joining. So,
Hello, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hello.
Hare Krishna, go ahead, Prabhu.
I'm in India actually, so
Okay. All right.
I'm on vacation in India. Coming
All
back
right.
next week.
Okay. So, those who did not complete the spiritual endeavors, I request you to please connect with me offline. I will not cover anything more. So the second homework question that you had, you can, those of you who did not answer, you can still consider to answer that what can nuclear bombs not destroy? You can consider to answer that question. You still have time. And we can go from there. So endeavor. Otherwise, how are you going to transform? Bhagavad Gita is meant for transformation. So there are only very few of you who have not been endeavoring. You got this additional option. Endeavor. And those of you who are not endeavoring, you have repeated incidences where you have not answered the question. I request you to immediately set up a quick call with me offline, and so I can fine tune. So for chapter 9, you have on the screen, for chapter 9, bring a page, or if you are taking notes electronically, divide a page, a legal size page, 2/3 on the left side and 1/3 on the right side. And you have a little dividing line and you can write. So chapter 9 has 5 sections. Section 1 and section 2 can be on page 1. And then on the back side, again, 2/3 on the left side, you have section 3, 4, and 5. And 1/3 on the right side. You can please have it ready like this. Plus, bring the chapter 7 section divisions for our next class. And you will soon realize why I am saying that. Everybody can do that, please.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, can you please repeat?
Yeah. So for chapter 9, have a blank page legal size on in a landscape on divide the page 2/3 left side and 1/3 right side. On the 2/3 left side, section 1 and section 2, you will take overview notes in the section division that I will give you. And on the back side of the page, again, you will have on the left side, you will have 2/3 of the page. And on the right side, you will have 1/3 of the page. On the left side, 2/3 page, you will take chapter 9, section 3, 4, and 5 notes, as well as bring chapter 7 section divisions. Path Prabhu, clear?
All right, Prabhuji.
And if I, for all the homework questions that I gave you, if something is not clear, you can just ask me either in class or offline. I'm not a demon with horns and tails. Many of you have seen me. I am very easily accessible. You can just ask me. I don't chastise anyone. Just ask me, or offline, just ask a question. And those of you who have not endeavored, try to complete your endeavor on the Google form, that what can nuclear bombs not destroy. Follow, practice what we have learned. And you saw live example from Sumnima and Dhara. Others also had the same. You had Sumnima and Dhara also, where they actually practiced, they meditated while doing japa. They asked Krishna, "Arey, prepare yourself. The upcoming endeavor for chapter 10 is going to be again mind-boggling." All of you, are you ready for such by these seemingly innocuous open-ended questions? Yes, no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
It's only very few, okay. Srivatsa Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, I was just wondering what's the best time to reach you? And
Yeah, message me offline and I'll let you know.
okay.
Ritu?
Yes, Prabhuji, it's very difficult to say yes.
Madan Prabhu?
So for that middle of our question, middle of Bhagavad Gita, so two answers are correct, 934 and 913 and 14.
Yeah, so chapter wise is chapter 9 and 10. And if you look at the midpoint from the chapter angle, it's 9.34 as well as 10.1. If you look at from the verse count, it's 9.13 and 9.14. And if you look from the overarching, what's the center of Bhagavad Gita is Bhakti is the center of Bhagavad Gita. Madan Prabhu?
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, we are just past 11:45 here in Toronto time. We'll stop here. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.